Good day to each and every one of you, and welcome to our very first discussion for the final terms in our subject, human reproduction, for this particular semester. So, at this point, obviously, we already discussed all of the things na sabihin natin na medyo related dun sa baseline understanding or yung pinaka-basic na kinakailangan nating malaman pagdating sa konsepto ng human reproduction when we talk of those different topics nung tayo ay nasa midterms pa. So, nung midterms, quick recall lang, pinag-usapan natin dito yung konsepto natin na tinatawag natin na human ecology, pinag-usapan natin dito yung existence ng biological basis for human reproduction, pinag-usapan natin kung paano nga ba nangyayari ang pregnancy, kung paano nga ba nangyayari yung ways kung paano nga ba natin may iwasan yung sexually transmitted infections, the concepts regarding consent, and those different things. Pero sa pagkakataon na to, for the final terms, we will actually be talking about some of the complicated matters sa kung paano nga ba nagkakaroon dito ng interconnection yung lahat ng mga bagay na pinag-usapan natin during the midterms. Na kung nung midterms, ang naging focus natin dito ay yung mga technical na terms, ngayon titingnan natin kung ano nga ba yung epekto nitong mga bagay na to, nitong mga sciences na to, o yung mga nalaman natin na concepts nung nasa midterms and its application in different factors or different facets pagdating sa mismong society natin. So I am actually encouraging each and every one of you to have a very open-minded and at the same time accepting stance pagdating sa mga bagay na to kasi ito yung nangyayari and ito yung masabi natin na naging development ng human reproduction and yung idea ng sexuality pagdating sa iba't ibang mga facets sa society natin. So for today, ang magiging main focus ng discussion natin will actually be on the part ng tinatawag natin na cultural aspect of human reproduction. So, for this particular discussion, pag-uusapan natin kung ano nga ba yung naging significance ngayon ng sexuality, yung usapin pagdating sa bagay na to, at kung paano nga ba ito related sa kultura na nag-e-exist sa isang specific na lugar. Okay? Mapag-uusapan natin dito yung possible na conservative stance ng iba't ibang mga locations, iba't ibang mga cultures. Yung iba possible na masabi ninyo na ay ganito pala yung nangyayari dito sa specific na culture na to. Kaya pala sila ay sex positive, kaya pala sila ay mga sabihin natin, nahihiyang pinag-uusapan itong mga bagay na to, kung bakit nga ba sila conservative when it comes to this particular discussions. Kasi even yung kultura ng isang lugar, yung kultura na kultura na nag-exist dito sa bansa na to, some of their customs, some of their traditions, so ilan sa mga biases nila pagdating sa mga kalalakihan at mga kababaihan, lahat ng mga bagay na to ay related sa context pa rin natin ng sex and sexuality. And that's the reason why, in our case, in our course, human reproduction, itong lahat ng mga bagay na to ay kailangan natin pinag-uusapan. Kasi as individuals who will be in the business field o kaya naman po dun sa field na tatahakin niyo in the future, you will be encountering different human resources. And meron silang iba't ibang mga background, meron silang iba't ibang mga kultura, hindi lamang sa kanilang pagtatrabaho, kundi pati na rin sa kanilang pang-araw-araw na buhay. Kasi kung titingnan po natin to, on the first statement here, it mentioned that anthropological investigation reveals that very different cultural attitudes towards sexuality and sexual behavior throughout history and around the world. So iba ang customs dito sa ating bansa, iba ang pagiging conservative dito sa ating bansa kung i-compare natin sa iba pang panig ng mundo. Halimbawa na lang kapag pinag-uusapan natin dito yung openness regarding same-sex relationships, for instance, okay? Mas open, sabihin natin na it is quite tolerated here in our country, but the acceptance is not the same kung ikukumpara natin sa ibang mga bansa. Kasi recently, ang Japan, they actually mentioned here that according to their constitution, na unconstitutional kapag kinasuhan mo ang isang individual na, or yung dalawang individual with the same sex na sila ay nagmamahalan because it is unconstitutional for them. So they are actually accepting those particular types of relationships. Ang Thailand, nagkaroon sila dito ng same-sex marriage that is actually a good stance pagdating po dito sa Asian countries na they're actually accepting and not only tolerating these particular things. So, yung considerations po natin sa mga bagay na to are observed pagdating sa mismong human culture natin. That these ideas ng kultura at yung konteksto ng sex and sexuality ay related sa kung paano nga ba nagkakaroon ng social organization, structure, pati na rin sa religious rituals. No? Pag-uusapan natin sa ibang chapter kung ano nga ba yung relationship ng religion and its context when it comes to the existence ng sex. Taboo in pollution, in magic and witchcraft, and even in economics and politics. So mapapansin natin dito, lahat sila ay interrelated sa mismong society natin. Okay? So lahat po ng mga bagay na to ay related pa rin sa sexuality and context of sex and human reproduction at the end of the day. So, yung konteksto po natin ng human sexuality across different culture is much more than procreation. Okay? Hindi lamang po ito dun sa dami ng mismong specific na population na to o kaya naman kung sino yung dapat na mag-dominate sa isang lugar, but rather it is the center ng mismong culture. Pero yung procreation kasi is not only the focus po ng sexuality, kasi the individuality of different individuals is also a part of this particular culture. It can be argued that all of social organization rests on the recognition and regulation of two fundamental biological capacities. Yung sociality, tayo kung paano tayo makikipag-interact sa kapwa natin. Bakit nga ba sa ating bansa, nandito yung idea natin ng pakikipagkapwa. Okay, ginagamit po natin yung term dito na makikipagkapwa-tao. And at the same time, ano nga ba yung relationship nito sa individual na sexuality na nag-exist sa bawat isang individual dito sa mga cultures na to? So pag-uusapan po natin sa iba't ibang mga societies kung paano nga ba yung nagiging mark nila of the idea ng sexual maturity. And at the same time, ano nga ba yung nangyayari when they enter adulthood? And at the same time, ano nga ba yung mga cultural significance pagdating sa mga bagay na to? Okay, so ito po yung ilan sa quick overview lang ng mga bagay na pag-uusapan natin pagdating sa mismong chapter na to. So, once again, when it comes to this particular discussion, I would like you guys, katulad ng pinag-usapan natin noong umpisa pa lang ng school year when we had our first interaction, that it is fine to be green-minded pagdating sa mga bagay na to, pero importante din na maging open-minded tayo when it comes to this particular topics. Okay, so in the case of sex and sexuality in different cultures, meron po tayo dito iba't ibang mga bansa at iba't ibang mga kultura na pag-uusapan. Okay, we will be going around the world to understand kung ano nga ba yung context ng sex and sexuality pagdating sa iba't ibang mga kultura. And I would like to start with the existence of the Egyptians. Okay, so we will be starting with the ancient Egypt pagdating po sa discussion na to. So when it comes to the existence po ng ancient Egypt, actually yung idea po nila ng sexuality is actually very open and at the same time untainted by guilt. Their idea of sex and sexuality is very important part pagdating sa buhay nila. From birth to death and even rebirth, kaakibat dito yung konteksto ng sex and sexuality pagdating sa kanilang mismong culture. Okay? So actually, in ancient Egypt, sex is actually a normal part of everyday life. It was still considered preferable within the confines of marriage. Therefore, it was normal for most people to be married often at a young age. Ganun po nila pinapahalagahan yung idea of monogamy in most of the instances pagdating po sa kanilang mismong marriage. So, ang case po ng pagiging sexually open ng mga ancient Egyptians ay kaakibat din ng iba't ibang mga ceremonies and at the same time traditions na meron pagdating sa kanila. In some instances, kapag hindi na-reach yung point ng satisfaction when it comes to the marriage na nangyayari, the binding na nangyayari, they also created here the idea which is the same as annulment or divorce in our current generation. Okay, kung meron po tayong tinatawag na annulment and divorce, possible din po na magkaroon dito ng nullification ng marriage kapag hindi na-reach yung iba't ibang mga requirements or yung hinahanap ng kalang partners from one another. Hindi lamang po ito nakafocus pagdating sa mga kalalakihan lang, but even sa mga kababaihan din. They have the say when it comes to their relationship. They have the say when it comes to their marriage. So halimbawa na lang dito, kapag hindi nagkaroon ng anak, hindi satisfied even with sex, or nagkaroon dito ng adultery or pangalunya or pangaliwa, these are actually some of the common grounds para magkaroon ng dissolution ng marriage. Then, yung pagkakaroon nila dito ng idea of divorce ay wala po itong social stigma pagdating sa mga kalalakihan sa mga kababaihan. Okay? Pero usually, nagkakaroon dito ng sabihin natin na concept of ageism pagdating sa mga kababaihan na once they actually turn 30 years old, then siya ay nanggaling sa isang divorce. Okay? Nanggaling siya sa earlier marriage. Kasi kung titingnan nga po natin, once again, they often marry at a very young age. So, mas prefer nila dito na magpakasal ng mas bata. So, kung ikaw ay roughly around 30 years old na, for the female specifically, it is most likely that you will not be able to find someone that will be marrying you. Okay? Kaya nagkakaroon po dito ng concern regarding the existence ng iba't ibang mga acts that are actually orchestrated against women. Okay? Possible na nagkakaroon dito ng inequality kung tutuusin. Kasi even though both men and women ay meron pong say pagdating sa kanilang mismong relationship, there's actually a huge problem pagdating po sa bagay na to kapag nagkaroon nga dito ng mismong divorce. Okay? Then, at the same time, ang context po ng sexuality in ancient Egypt ay kaakibat nga po ng kanilang napakalawak na kultura. Okay? Ng kanilang iba't ibang mga tradition and even yung origin of life pagdating sa kanila. The ancient Egyptians are actually believing that masturbation is the driving force of creation. So as you can see here, okay, as depicted in this particular image, ito po ay si Ra, okay, na ang kanyang human form po ay tinatawag na Atum. Okay, so take note, their God, their divine God, the only God that they have, okay, or the main God, counterpart ni Zeus kung kayo man ay mahilig sa pagdating dito sa mga mythologies na to. So, in Egyptian mythology, Ra is the god or the creator. Okay, the creator of everything. Pero, si Ra, since isa nga siyang god, kaya niyang mag-personify into different individuals or kaya niya mag-transform. And when it comes to his particular human form, ito ay tinatawag nila na Atum. Okay, so wag po malilito ha. So Ra and Atum are just the same individual. Pareho po silang God. Ra ang God name niya. Pero kapag siya ay naging isang tao, that's Atum. Okay? So masturbation is actually the driving force of creation. Or in layman's term, ang pagjijakol daw ang naging dahilan kung bakit nagkaroon dito ng existence ng universe. Okay? And specifically, dito rin nagkaroon ng pinakaunang series of individuals katulad na lamang ng kanyang mga anak na si Shu at si Tefnut. Okay? So actually, Shu and Tefnut are onomatopoeia pagdating daw dun sa sound na nire-release ng isang lalaki after niya mag-masturbate. Okay? That's Shu and Tefnut. So, yung existence po ngayon ng Nile River, according to ancient Egyptian mythology, it is actually the representation of the eternal ejaculation of Ra that created everything. Kung babalikan ninyo yung naging discussion ninyo, supposedly nung kayo ay nasa STS na discussions ninyo, Nile River is the longest river in the world and Nile River is located in Egypt. Ang mga pyramids were created because of the existence of the Nile River. And the Nile River is the representation of everything that was actually created by Ra. Okay? So it actually made sense to them na kailangan nilang pangalagaan yung mismong Nile River kasi dito nanggaling lahat. Ito ay nanggaling kay Ra. Pero weirdly enough, kung titingnan natin in this particular instance, yung kanyang semen, yung kanyang tamod, ito yung tubig na available doon sa mismong Nile River. Which is quite perplexing kung tutuusin sa pagkakataon na ito ngayon. Pero normal lang during that time. Then even during the existence po ng iba't ibang mga propaganda and at the same time the creation of hieroglyphics, nandito rin po yung creation ng hindi lamang sa kanilang mismong mythology but even do sa kanilang sabihin na natin na text in the papyrus, nakalagay dito yung earliest known pornographic materials na nag-exist. And that is actually the existence po ng tinatawag natin na Turin erotic papyrus. So yung Turin erotic papyrus shows a paunchy, balding, short, and scruffy man having intercourse in some rather improbable possession with a beautiful woman. So ito pong Turin erotic papyrus, for some individuals, they're actually considering this as a pornographic material. But some individuals are actually saying that this is actually a propaganda na pinapakita yung mismanagement ng mga higher ranking officials in ancient Egypt pagdating doon sa kanilang power. Okay? That they are actually abusing their power to do despicable acts. Katulad na nga lang dito ng prostitution, katulad na nga lang dito ng existence ng paggawa ng kung ano man yung mga kinakailangan nila or gusto nilang gawin. So, the existence po ng Turin erotic papyrus could be a pornographic material for some, but this is actually a propaganda that is created to tell people na sumusobra na yung kanilang mga leaders. So, ilan doon sa mga sabihin natin na in the seat of power, sumusobra na yung kanilang mga ginagawa at nahihirapan na dito yung iba't ibang mga individuals. Kasi in some instances, they're also considering this as a political satire. Okay? So it provides some number of vignettes showing animals in human roles also appear in the same papyrus. So pinapakita dito na hindi na makatao yung nagiging turing ng ilan doon sa mga individuals, higher-ranking officials. Kaya humans, workers, slaves, they are depicted as animals. Okay? Kasi hindi na nga po makatao yung kanilang ginagawa. Now, another case po in the existence ng Egyptian mythology, okay? Yung pinakaunang clear trace of fellatio, para po sa mga hindi aware, ang fellatio po is actually the other term for DJ or blowjob. Okay? So, in the case of fellatio, it is actually the first clear trace na available pagdating sa mismo mythology. It is actually present in the Egyptian mythology. Dito po ito unang lumabas. It is actually stated on the story between Osiris and Isis. These two gods, okay, na nagkaroon dito ng instance na yung kapatid ni Osiris, which is Set, okay, killed Osiris, then hinati yung different parts of the body ni Osiris at tinapon ito sa iba't ibang bahagi ng mismong Egypt. Okay? Nung tinapon ito sa iba't ibang bahagi ng Egypt, si Isis, okay, and yung kanilang anak na si Anubis, hinanap nila ngayon kung nasaan nga ba iba't ibang parts ni Osiris. Then what they did is that nakita na nila lahat ng parts, lahat ng katawan, or lahat ng parte ng katawan ni Osiris except for one part. At yung part na to is the penis of Osiris. Okay? According to some legends, according to some statements in the mythology, ito daw ay nakain ng isang tilapia sa Nile River. Which is quite perplexing, kung tutusin. Okay? That's the story regarding that part. So, ang ginawa ni Isis ngayon, since she is also the goddess of fertility, okay, she now created a fellatio or created a penis out of mud. Or gumamit siya dito ng clay, gumamit siya ng putik. Hinulma niya ngayon para makagawa ng penis, then nilagay doon sa mismong katawan ni Osiris. Then, ang kanilang anak na si Anubis, ginamit ngayon yung kanyang prowess of mummification para ibalot yung katawan ng kanyang father. Then, Osiris was already complete pero wala pa siyang buhay. Ang ginawa ngayon ni Isis utilizing yung ano yung term dito? Yung clay na penis ni Osiris na nilagay doon sa kanya mismo katawan. Isis basically blew this phallus. Okay? Sinubo niya yung mismong phallus nito, nag-breathe ng life, nag-CPR siya, pero dito sa mismong phallus na to ni Osiris. Then after some time, Osiris came back to life. So kung tutuusin, that's a lot of information. Okay? To tell pagdating dito sa bagay na to. Pero that is actually a part ng mismong context nila ng sex. And that's one of the reasons kung bakit nga ba normal lang sa kanila na magkaroon dito ng fellatio, magkaroon ng blowjob whenever they're actually doing this particular acts. Whenever they are having sex with their partners, with anyone. Okay? Kasi it is embedded in the mythology and the act of fellatio is actually a holy thing to do. So, weird man in our generation, but these are some of the normal things na nangyayari during their particular times. Okay, so tandaan po natin itong mga bagay ito. So, the fellatio, blowjob, is actually a holy thing to do when it comes to ancient Egypt. Then, also in their mythology and at the same time being practiced by some of the doctors during the earlier times in Egypt, nagkaroon din dito ng pinakaunang idea regarding the existence ng birth control. So this is actually very much common in ancient Egypt that they are actually utilizing gum made from acacia tree sap or yung sa dagta ng acacia. Then kinocover nila ito doon sa mismong mouth of the womb or yung part na tinatawag natin na cervix during sexual intercourse. So at the same time, they're also considering here the utilization ng mismong honey and sodium bicarbonate inside the vagina na ito yung nagiging spermicide naman. So napapatay nito yung mismong sperm bago pa ito mag-cause ng impregnation pagdating sa mga kababaihan in ancient Egypt. Then at the same time, they also created here a diaphragm made out of crocodile dung, acacia, honey, and dates. So basically, gumagawa sila dito ng specific concoction then ilalagay nila sa female reproductive organ para hindi mabuntis ang isang babae. So they are actually doing this particular birth control for them not to do abstinence, but rather ma-enjoy pa rin at magawa pa rin nila ang pakikipagtalik sa isa't isa. Kasi nga po, ang sex and copulation and intercourse ay sobrang importante sa ancient Egyptian culture. And another fun fact pagdating sa bagay na to, the first set of dildos and vibrators were supposedly, created by the Egyptians. And mas lalo itong lumaganap during the time of the ruler Cleopatra. So Cleopatra was one of the rulers in ancient Egypt, and according to some text, she loved sex and pleasing herself. And nagkaroon sila ng illegitimate child with Julius Caesar, which is one of the rulers in ancient Rome. Okay? Pero, according to some text, Julius Caesar is not that good when it comes to bed. Di tayo sure kung yung may problema ba siya when it comes to the size or the performance. But Cleopatra, according to some books, according to some historical texts, quote-unquote, in the hieroglyphics, that she is not being satisfied pagdating sa kanyang pakikipagtalik sa kanyang partner. So, she found different ways of entertaining herself. And she created now dildos and vibrators. So, kung yung dati, yung case po ng mga dildos, usually phallo shape lang yan. Anything can be a dildo basta ikaw ay merong courage. You can quote me on that. But the creation of the vibrator is actually a new thing na ginawa ni Cleopatra, that according to some historians, that Cleopatra utilized a papyrus box. Okay, so imagine po natin yung meron ba ako ditong sample for that? Okay, ito. Meron ako ditong sample ng sa tissue, okay? So, aware naman kayo dito sa tissue. Okay? So, in the case of a tissue, di ba meron tayong tube, hollow tube dito sa may gitna? Yan. Yung papyrus box kasi, ganito yung kanyang lalagyan. Pabilog siya. Okay? Since pabilog yung mismong papyrus box, mas maliit po yung circumference, mas maliit yung area, mas maliit yung circumference. Para siyang scroll na ginagamit. Okay? So, hina-hollow out ito, o kaya naman gumagamit sila dito ng gourd or ng upo, o kaya naman ng patola. Tinatanggal nila yung laman nito. Then, they are going to dry this. Then, maglalagay sila dito ng bubuyog. with the buzzing sound of bees, especially yung galit daw na bubuyog, okay? Maraming bubuyog. Mas maraming bubuyog, mas maraming vibration na mangyayari. So basically, when it comes to this particular instance, the buzzing sound of the bees create the sensation, okay, that can pleasure the G-spot or could pleasure anyone. So that's actually one of the very first vibrators that were created in ancient history. According to some historians, this is during the time of Cleopatra. But what the histories are actually mentioning to us, ito ay nanggaling sa ancient Egypt. Okay? So, medyo perplexing kung tutuusin, no, itong mga bagay na to. But, one of the things din na masabi nating weird during that time, which is not actually weird to be honest, is the idea of sex work. In ancient Egypt and a lot of cultures in the world, prostitution is actually a sacred act. Okay? Remember this. Sex work is work. Prostitution is a sacred act when it comes to the ancient Egyptian times. Because prostitution in ancient times, especially in Egypt, is considered as a divine and respectable act that was done to please the gods. Isa nga rin doon sa mga ginagawa on ancient Egypt, okay, it is actually quite weird, pero meron po tayong mga documented texts pagdating sa bagay na to, that on the Nile River, since it is considered as the ultimate ejaculation or continuous ejaculation of God Ra, kino-consider nila ngayon na once every year, ang kanilang pharaoh and a lot of individuals will actually from Egypt will gather sa mismo Nile River and sabayan silang magmamasturbate and mag-ejaculate sa Nile River for it to continue its fertility. It is actually a sacred act for them to do these particular things. So that's the reason why prostitution is actually a sacred act pagdating po sa mismong bagay na to. Okay? So it is actually a sacred act pagdating sa mga ancient Egyptians. Whenever you are pleasuring yourself, you're also doing this not only for yourself but also for the gods. Then, in this particular instance, since ilan nga sa mga kababaihan, once they turn 30 years old na hindi sila makakapag-asawa, they're actually in the brothels. They're actually giving themselves for the gods. Kasi nga ganun ka-sacred pagdating sa kanila yung pakikipagtalik. And sex work is work. So prostitution is, yung mga prostitutes specifically, sila po ay merong high status when it comes to the Egyptian society. Okay? So, for the next video, for the next part ng discussion natin, we will actually be talking about the existence ng mismong Indian culture. But, bago po tayo matapos dito sa part na to, as a part of the recitation para sa mismong session natin for this particular video, I would like you guys to send some of your insights, kahit 1 or 2 sentence lang, in the comment section pagdating sa video na to. And yung comment po ninyo will be considered as a recitation point para sa inyo kapag naglagay kayo ng comment pagdating dito sa mismong discussion natin. So, ano nga ba yung mga insights ninyo base dun sa napag-usapan natin dun sa unang part ng discussion for lesson number 6. So, see you on the next video.